Good evening. If I could please ask everyone to find their seats so we can begin the program. Wow, that was quick. It must be those bright lights. It's my great pleasure to have the opportunity and the privilege to introduce and welcome you all to our 9th annual Shalsheles Event. There's not a lot for me to do at this time. I'm only just supposed to call up and introduce Rabbi Kleschik, who is going to be running the program. But before I do so, I do want to take the opportunity to wish my own personal mazel tov to our outstanding graduates, to Tzipora, and Esther Bela, and Ruti, to Shmuel, Tzvi, Moshe Simcha, David, and Ariel. Mazel tov. We should have tremendous nachas from all you are going to become, the greatness you're going to rise to. And of course, a mazel tov to our alumni, leaders who are being honored this evening, outstanding individuals who we're very, very proud of them for many reasons, not the least of which is they're all homegrown Richmonders. Just to show you the greatness that can come out of little old Richmond, VA, we're very, very proud to honor this evening Yonatan and Marlena Cantor and Rabbi Elliot and Sarah Plotnick. Mazel tov. And of course, one person who doesn't get honored at this event, but really will be worthy of being honored at this event every single year, and I will talk as long as I can before he gives me that yank with the fish line. No, you gotta give me at least 60 seconds. Really, I will be very, very brief this year, just to share, honestly, just one comment. There's so much to say about Rabbi Hal and Noah Kleschik. And Rabbi Kleschik, just if you look around the room and you see, none of us would be here this evening if not for Rabbi Kleschik, but a good chunk of us wouldn't have ever been in Richmond or maybe even heard of Richmond, Virginia, with Rabbi Kleschik. Rabbi Kleschik is someone who has taught us the difference between building a Jewish community and building a Torah community. You only have a Torah community when you have a successful yeshiva at the heart of that community. And the one word that I think probably best describes Rabbi Kleschik, I heard this from one of my colleagues many years ago, is Rabbi Kleschik is a visionary. And to quote one of our honorees this evening, I believe, where is he? Where's Yonatan? I believe you said this at your 12th grade graduation. If you build it, they will come. That's Rabbi Kleschik. And thank you, Rabbi Kleschik, for all you have done for our community.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Bart. As always, you are the best MC. Sometimes you go a little too long on those introductions, but thank you. It is now my pleasure to call upon our Shari Torah graduates, and I'd like to give each of you your diplomas together with a very special sefer. It is Shemin HaTov, written by Rav Weinberger Zatzal, who was the grandfather of our own Shia Weinberger, and it is a sefer that your teacher, Mrs. Kleschik, uses regularly in preparing her classes, so I hope you will get a lot of enjoyment from it, and it'll mean a lot to you. Remind me next year to have a flat table in the back. Okay. Tzipora Gunsberg. Thank you. Here's your, and here's your safe. Esther Bela Renke. Wonderful. If you can't read lips, she said, I've been waiting for this sefer. Ruti Saloveychik. Thank you. Mazel tov. And now, as we always do, I'd like to ask each of the graduates who wish to say a few words in their own words to please come up. So we'd like to start with Esther. Okay.
Okay. So before I get caught up in the moment, I would like to take the opportunity to publicly thank Hashem for not just being our Father in heaven, but our Father who's with each and every one of us every single moment, for loving us unconditionally, for supporting us, and for giving Klal Yisrael the Torah as our lifeline. Thank you. You may think that Shari Torah is called a family because we're a little small. You might have noticed that 13 isn't the regular size for a student body for high school, but it's something much deeper than that. Thank God. Trying to collect my thoughts so that they make sense. The thing about Shari Torah is that it's not about the numbers. It wouldn't make a difference if it was 80 girls or if it was 8 girls. Because at the end of the day, the whole point is putting your heart and your soul into every single student and making sure that whether you've been here for 3 months or you've been here for 4 years, that you come out of it knowing that you have a certain role to play in this world that no one else has. And that's what Shari Torah does. You know, Thursday was a very difficult day for all of us because it was our last full day and our last Chumash class with Mrs. Kleshik, in Shari Torah at least. And we learned this incredible Rav Hirsch. You're not supposed to say that you have a favorite Mefarish, but one of my favorite Mefarshim is Rav Hirsch. Highly recommend. And we learned about the mitzvah per RVAV. A man has an obligation to have children to populate the earth. Makes sense. And so there are different parts of this obligation, and one of them is RVAV, to multiply. So you think, why do we have to? What's the shear? What's the parameter for multiplying? Do you just have a kid, say, sayonara, have a good life, I feel my obligation, that's it, I'm good, let's go to Vegas, but that's not exactly, Rav Hirsch says that that's not exactly how you fulfill the obligation. You don't just have the kid, but you have to cultivate them and nurture them and provide for them in a God-fearing home, in a home that is truly happy, and in a home of Torah and mitzvos. That's what Shari Torah does. Shari Torah is not Stam a family because of our size. It's not even Stam a high school. But what it is it's a sanctuary. It's a mikdash. Because the teachers come, and it has never been a 9 to 5 for the Kleshiks, for Mrs. Case, for any of the teachers. They care about you as an individual, and they put their heart and their soul into you every single day. And that's why Shari Torah is not just Stam a school. Shari Torah is a mikdash. So for those of you who don't know, I love gematria, so there has to be something involved with that in my speech. The gematria of bias is 412, which means house. The gematria of migdash, sanctuary, is 444. So what's the connection here? The difference is 32, which is the gematria of Lev, heart. Because when you have a bias, you have a heart, you have a house, that's okay. But when you have, in order to get to a migdash, in order to get to something that's meaningful, something that's sustainable, you need to put your heart and your soul into it every second of every day. And that's what Shari Torah does. Shari Torah puts their heart and their soul into every single girl for the, how old is Shari Torah? 28? For the past 28 years, without fail. Should have done my research. I'm not finished. Everyone's rushing me off stage. I hit my 2-minute mark. That's it. And that's why Shari Torah is not just Stam, a family, which is beautiful enough, but what it is a sanctuary where each of us comes out of it proud. I've grown into someone that I'm proud of, and to say that as a young adult, and I came into Shari Torah when I was 13, and I thought I knew way more than I did. And now to be proud of who I've become, to be proud of being a Jew, to love Torah, to connect to Torah and mitzvos, and to want to continue to grow and to learn for the rest of my life is an extremely powerful thing to be grateful for. So obviously, this goes without saying, thank you, Rabbi and Mrs. Kleshik, for changing not just my life, but changing me as a person, for making me grow into someone that I'm proud of, for believing in me, for caring about me. Thank you, Mrs. Case. Mrs. Case has called us her daughters before, and she doesn't just, there are teachers that are like, oh, you're my daughters, but then, it's your 9 to 5, and then they leave. Mrs. Case isn't like that. Mrs. Case, when she says, sure, your daughters, it means that you can come to her at any moment, every time. Believe me, I don't know how much more time of the teachers I've taken up in school or out of school. I really don't know. But they care. They don't count the hours because they really, really care about each and every neshama on such an individual, beautiful level. So thank you to the class chicks. Thank you, obviously, to my parents for being the whole cause of my growth and for being my rock throughout everything. And thank you to my friends for inspiring me every day. Mazel tov.
Ruti Salvachik.
Oh, I thought it was the other graduate. Hard act to follow, geez. Should have gone first. Good afternoon, Richmond Jewish community. Thank you for coming to our Father's Day celebration. I am Ruti Salvachik, otherwise known as the reason for the 2-minute speech rule. I would have come up here and asked if you'd all had a fun and inspiring evening so far, but we just heard Esther speak, so I think that's a given. Let's just hope my speech can evoke the same feelings. Luckily, I have a pretty fun and inspiring topic to talk about. My time at Shari Torah. The greatest gift Hashem in his infinite kindness has ever given me. I genuinely believe that I'm a cooler person for having attended Shari Torah, and not just because I was always on thin ice. Narrowly avoided trouble and not so narrowly avoided trouble aside, I am a better person for having attended Shari Torah, because that's what they care about. Yes, there's grades, and the teachers do have this incredible capacity to give the students individual attention to help them grow intellectually. But that's not the point. When a student comes to Shari Torah, the Kleshchiks don't think, there, that's the next Albert Einstein, let's get her through it. That's not that they would mind, per se, but that's not the point. Shari Torah is the school that teaches you how to be a good person, as well as these incredible moral lessons I learned from my teachers were those that I learned from my friends. From obvious moments like Sipora and Esther's compliment acceptance training, to even more subtle ones, just being there every single day, and seeing all of their incredible bitachon and amuna and kindness on display all of the time, every second of every day. I am so blessed and so thankful that these past years, my incredible classmates and my amazing teachers, especially the Kleshchiks and Mrs. Geist, have been my influences. I've learned how to better connect to Hashem, how to deeply bond with other people, how to take initiative, and the history of forks, and every reason why the way I walk down the stairs is weird, and the sign language for can I throw a ball at you. Thank you again, Shari Torah, for those hard-hitting lessons. In the last case, hard-hitting. But none of this would have been possible without my original teachers, my parents. Mom, you have this incredible determination and intellect that is so rare and special. And I know that the few times, once in a blue moon, that I use my intellect, it's from you. Abba, my heart comes from you through and through. And so does my sense of humor. That's right, guys, now you know who to blame. Thanks to Hashem and these 3 groups of people and so many more, my time at Shari Torah has been the most inspiring, fun and enjoyable years of my life. Shari Torah has made me a better person, and it will continue to make students better for years to come. And all I can say is thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I would like to ask, as I do every year, to ask Mrs. Kleschik to... No. Have to wait for after dessert for that. But thank you for doing that, because I really could have missed that. Thank you. As I do every year, I ask for Mrs. Kleschik to come up and say a few words. She would never speak in public except for this occasion, for the purpose of sharing her thoughts with her girls.
Disclaimer, I could say more, lots more, but that's not happening. Lucky you. Good afternoon, and thank you for coming to share in this milestone. I'm up here for only one reason, and you can blame them. 24 years ago, the first group of Shari Torah graduates asked me to say a few words about them at graduation. In fact, one of our esteemed honorees is here, and she's one of them, Sarah Selznick, now Plotnick, and we do have another one, Ilana. Were among them. It was my honor then, and it is my privilege and honor today to say a few words about this most exceptional, gifted group of graduates, our talented and refined young women, Tzipora, Ruti, and Esther, in that order. I would like to first speak of them as a group, because they are a group, and very much operate as such. They are fine leaders. I would like to introduce two statements from the sages that illustrate just how special these three young ladies are. First, a well-known statement from the second Mishnah in Pirkei Avos, Al shlosha dvarim ha'olam omed, al haTorah v'al avodah v'al gmilus chasadim. The world stands on three things: on the Torah, on the service of God, and on acts of loving kindness. These three young ladies exemplify these three foundations. Anyone who has ever seen them engage with Torah or people, and who has ever seen them daven, knows what I'm talking about. They are remarkable. Additionally, there is a statement made in the Gemara in Yevamos 79. David Amar, Shlosha simanim yesh ba'uma zo, harachmanim v'habaishanim v'gomlei chasadim. David said, there are three distinguishing marks of this nation: merciful, shamefaced, and they perform acts of kindness. No truer statement can be made of these three Baalos Chesed, who give of themselves daily to their schoolmates and who are the epitome of unassuming humility. Each of you, coincidentally, has a name that is shared by exceptional women in our precious legacy of the Masorah, and coincidentally, your respective last names correspond alphabetically to the chronological periods in which each of them lived. Okay. I learned this today. Your eponyms, those whose, you are the namesake, they are the eponym, okay? You share the name, they came first. Okay, they are the originals. Tzipora from the Torah, biblical days, Ruti, Rus from the days of the judges, which came after, and Esther, the period of in between the two Batei Mikdash, the two temples. So I'll start with Tzipora. The biblical Tzipora is mentioned coincidentally only 3 times in the Torah, depicting who you are: refined, compassionate, and proactive. Tzipora was a Midianite princess, one of Yisro's 7 daughters. A fascinating midrash is told of Moshe. Seeking refuge in Midian from a Paro who wanted to kill him for killing an Egyptian man, was thrown into a pit by Yisro. because he was a loyal advisor to Paro. He left him there for 10 years, in which time Tzipora gave him food and drink. A second illustration of Tzipora and her proactive ways are giving her son a bris milah when she perceived Moshe's life to be in danger because of it. These are the traits our Tzipora has: the insights and sensitivity to perceive a situation that requires assistance, and the insightful, proactive response to assure it. In her patient and calm manner, she is refined and deferent, to everyone, and gentle and nurturing, as was the biblical Tzipora, who was so named as a bird who nurtures her young. Next in the historical timeline is Rus, Aruti. Her signature trademarks are loyalty, vision, and initiative, as well as modesty. Ruti is fiercely loyal as a student, a sister, a peer, and a daughter. Like the biblical Rus, who is attached and loyal to both God and her mother-in-law, Ruti is concerned for everyone's welfare. She makes sure to always be inclusive and to orchestrate and initiate venues and occasions for celebrations of joy, support, and unity, where everyone's feelings are taken into account without exception. Ruti, like the biblical Rus, is modest and humble. She is a comic genius, regaling us with her ever-flowing puns, witticisms, and most creative school activities, yet she does so with such humility and bashfulness that it is so endearing and charming. We're told that there are many references in the Megillah of Rus, of visionary properties that take place throughout history, through the story of Rus. The Zohar even says that Boaz perceived Rus to have Ruach HaKodesh, divine inspiration. I can state unequivocally that this Rus, Ruti, possesses Ruach HaKodesh. Her incredible signature Torah insights are so creative, so novel, so intricate and deep, they are nothing short of Ruach HaKodesh. Last chronologically is Esther. Like Queen Esther, who maintains the posture and poise of a queen, Queen Esther's trademarks are quiet discretion, responsibility, and inspiration. Queen Esther was quiet and soft-spoken. She remained silent about her background and her plans, just as our Esther wisely speaks when appropriate, when appropriate and fitting. I can often see her eager to speak, but patiently refraining from doing so to allow for others to have their say first and not to dominate the discussion. Esther is responsible. She's always quick to respond to any call for help. Esther is dedicated to assisting family and community. Just as Esther Amalka followed Mordechai's guidance both in private and public life, so too Esther follows all guidance offered to her by the people she respects and honors. Esther is a cheerful volunteer and is most generous with her cheer, positivity, and exuberance. And as the pasuk says of Esther Amalka, Vati Esther noses chen be'inei kol ro'eha, and Esther found favor in the eyes of all who saw her. Lastly, we are told that the Megillah was written by Esther and Mordechai, who were divinely inspired. How else could they have known that what the other characters in the story were thinking? Esther, too, was divinely inspired. Her masterful weave of hashkafa and insight into every facet of Jewish life and the inspiration she infuses into her thoughts and articulate expression are breathtakingly majestic and beautiful beyond words. To the three of you, I say thank you for leading us all by your example of friendship, positivity, connection to Hashem, His Torah, and His people. I will miss learning with you and from you, and look forward to future nachas. Mazel tov.
Thank you, Mrs. Kleschik. I would now call your attention to the screen.
big moment. The hour makes you golden. You didn't ask, but you were chosen. It's not where you've been, it's where you're going. The last rung on the ladder, you're the cleanup batter. Every clock that ticks is telling me this is our time, lucky are we.
Git scho in a mazel dik scho mit simche mit frei sie mit do be mazel to mama mazel to bin ni bazel habi ya mit possibil has mazel to mama mazel to bin ni bazel habi ya mit possibil has mazel to.
Okay, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Thank you. And now we move to the yeshiva boys' graduation, the part where I give out your diplomas, and as well a sefer that you have learned. You're quite familiar with it. You've done quite a number of sugyas. As I call your name, please come up. Okay, this is Chidushei Rabbeinu Chaim. You're very familiar with it. Shmuel Gimpelevich. Mazel tov, mazel tov. Each is personally inscribed by your Rebbe, Rabbi David. David Montikov. Zvi Krieger. Moshe Simcha Landon. And Ariel Selencourt. Okay. Those who didn't hug me, you can hug me afterwards. And now I would like, again, in your own words, to Usually we don't like to have the students give their last word, so I'll speak after that. But right now, if you could come up in alphabetical order, one at a time, say a few words.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming here to our graduation. I don't like preparing to talk in front of crowds, but I also hate being unprepared, so this left me in a bit of a pickle. Just bear with me. If you would have taken aside a 14-year-old version of me, you would have never suspected I would be a yeshiva boy. I found Gemara to be the least exciting thing in the world. I hated learning and studying, refused to even wear a blazer to Minyan. 4 years later, I love Gemara, tolerate studying, and even have occasionally been cited in a suit. Truly, Rabbi K works wonders. One of the things that I like best about YVA is the allowance to ask questions. I think all of my teachers throughout these past 4 years have at one point or another thought to themselves, why doesn't this kid stop? I mean, I know my classmates definitely have. I won't take too much time for all of this. I have a 2-minute mark that I need to hold on to. So I guess I'll skip straight to the thank yous. First of all, I'd like to thank my parents. Without you, none of this would have been possible. I know how stubborn and annoying I can be sometimes. And I'm constantly in awe that you have put up with me so far. I would like to thank Rabbi K for all the conversations in and out of the office, as well as for answering all the aforementioned questions during Musar and Hashkafa Shir. Thank you to Rabbi Skeist for teaching me what true patience look like, as well as for teaching me how to properly learn Tanakh and Gemara, as well as for all of that studying that you had me do early on. It really has prepared me for everything else. I'd like to thank Rabbi David for allowing my little antics and disallowing my big ones. Thank you to RTK for giving me the skills to read Rashi and Tosfos, and to all the chavrusas over the years. It's been real. Thank you to Mr. Helfrich for teaching me English. All of those years of dictionary have indubitably expanded my vocabulary exponentially. Thank you to Ms. Klausenberg for making my least favorite subject palatable, and Ms. Schaefer for showing us that submarines are, in fact, real. Thank you to Mr. Snyder for all of the Wikipedia articles, and to Ms. Ward for allowing me to play the devil's advocate. Last of all, I'd like to thank everyone here who has come today to this graduation, especially my family members. Just saying, this speech was never supposed to see the light of day, so I'd like to thank my mother especially for making sure that I came up here and actually said something.
Good evening. I want to thank you all for joining us on this momentous night, and I especially want to thank my parents for making the drive from New York. I know how much you despise the trip. You must love me. Life before and after YVA are two completely different entities. Joining YVA as a little boy, I'd never given much thought to what kind of impact a yeshiva can have on you. Quickly, though, as yeshiva started taking hold of me, I started realizing the yeshiva, the YVA specifically, has so much to give to me and everyone around me. And all I have to do is absorb what it gives me. Life is very short, but if there's one place I'd want to spend my time, it's YVA. Every morning, just being in the mere presence of Rabbi David brings light to your life like no one else can. The atmosphere of YVA is such that you can never stay down for more than a moment, and the greatest lesson that was imparted to me was that we as Jews have a responsibility to present ourselves to the world in a fashion appropriate for Am Yisrael, and every word that my Rebbeim spoke to me helped me to strive in that direction. So in closing, I want to state that Mr. Helfrich specifically warned me not to go through thank yous one by one to keep my speech from being monotonous, but I'm eternally grateful for all that YVA has given me, and after all these years, I realized that the single greatest decision of my life was coming here. Lastly, I want to give my greatest love and appreciation to my parents and Hashem, for without them I could accomplish nothing. Thank you all for listening, and enjoy your evening.
I always thought that my graduation speech would be grand and remembered for years to come. But then I wrote it. To be honest, I meant to start writing at the beginning of last week, but it was very hard considering the people that I was trying to write about were always around me. Finally, when there was only one day left, my sister and I came up with code words. Rabbi K became turkey, and Rabbi David became chicken, etc. So with that problem fixed, I was able to write the rest of the speech. Rabbi K, many people, yourself included, probably think that my favorite subjects in school were math or science. In truth, my favorite class was your Ashkafa shir. Your brilliance and clarity are truly inspirational, and your words have definitely helped me grow. Not only are your words truth, but your actions really do embody the lessons that you give over. Thank you for being a role model that I can connect with. Rabbi David, my watch once broke, so I asked you if you knew of any watch stores that would fix it. You asked me to show it to you, and when I did, you took it and had it fixed yourself. This is just one instance of how you've helped me by fixing my problems yourself. Your attentive care for each student is truly incredible. RTK, over my past 3 years at YVA, you've grown from a mentor to a friend. Your down-to-earth personality makes you easy to talk to, and I'll always cherish the many tangents in your class as I head into college. Don't worry, I'll always remember to square the inverse cosine. Rabbi Skaist, your love for Judaism and Torah is palpable. I sincerely admire your patience, even as you read the new Navi that I create on my tests. Mr. Helfridge, I have always admired your style of teaching. Your organized and disciplined nature is something to aspire to. Ms. Schaefer, when I was learning AP Physics online, you were always available when I had a question. Your input, is there a video on that, truly helped me answer my questions. Ms. Klausenberg, thank you for sharing my passion for math. I'm sincerely sorry that I could not attend Ohio State. University of Cincinnati is just better. Go Bearcats. Mr. Snyder, I look forward every day to when you walk past me in the hallway, pat me on the back and say, "What's doing, Moshe?" or "Good evening, gentlemen," and I use the word loosely. Ms. Steinberg, I truly don't know where I'd be without you. Definitely not going to college, that's for sure. When I started school this year, I didn't know the first thing about applying to colleges. Your help has given me the wings I need to fly. Of course, I can't forget Sal Khan of Khan Academy. You are the only teacher I've had for all 4 years of high school. Thank you. To all my friends from YVA, both those who are here and those who are not, I really enjoyed the time spent and the memories made with you guys. Finally, the people who have had the biggest impact on who I am today, my parents. Mommy and Daddy, thank you so much for everything. I know that I have not always been the best child, and I know that I don't thank you nearly enough as I should, but I recognize and truly appreciate the love and support that you've shown me throughout all my life choices. I'd like to leave a message to the next generation of YVA. Going into 9th grade, I was told that my yeshiva years could be the best or worst years of my life. YVA has taught me that this difference lies in how we treat others. Our happiness in school comes from standing up for our friends and creating a supportive atmosphere. Looking back, I can definitely say that my years at YVA have been the best years of my life. Thank you.
I thought I was going to be a lot more nervous. When I was younger, I thought graduating 12th grade was going to be like exhaling after holding my breath for a long time, but I didn't realize I was really always breathing. It's only now that I feel like I'm holding my breath. When the Jews were slaves in Egypt, they were given the straw to build bricks, but after Moshe confronted Paro, he only made their work more difficult by making the Jews get their own straw. But the Jews stayed strong and they continued to make the same amount of bricks. For the past 17 years of my life, my parents and mentors supplied me with my straw. I was free of worry and responsibility. Now I am moving on to a different stage in my life, where I must supply my own straw. But I will continue to build my bricks like the Jews in Egypt who stayed strong and continue to build even under their challenges. So will I, Bezrat Hashem. In 9th grade, I called my mom about 4 times a day, and she answered every single time with the same love and care. Mom, I will always be grateful. Dad, I thank you so much for everything that you have done for me. You're my role model, and I know you're watching right now. Thank you to the whole Richmond community for creating such a warm environment for me. Lastly, I would like to tell you all my secret cholent recipe. Moms, take out your notebooks. It's barley, paprika, water, salt. And for the final ingredient that hasn't been revealed in my 4 years of YVA, time's running out. Good night.
Best for last. Out of Yeshiva of Virginia's many redeeming qualities, the one that had the biggest impact on me by far are the endless teachings and life lessons of my RVAV teachers. And in a close second was basketball. Naturally, I'm going to talk about basketball. After a few difficult months of practice, I was eager to play in my first freshman game. And after I walked out onto the court and saw the Capital City Warriors, a team with no player less than 6'6", instead of discouraging our team, we had more of an incentive to put in 100%. Right away, we scored 6 points. But after a couple turnovers and bad passes, we were down 36 points by the half. We tried our hardest that game, but they fought back harder to make the score 89-22 with 11 seconds left. It was our possession, and my teammate drove in. He passed the ball to me by the three-point line, and I shot it in what felt like slow motion to score the buzzer beater. I may have lost that game, but I felt like I won. This game taught me simply a valuable lesson. Whether I'm trying to find the radius of a circle or answer Titus's question, to always put in maximum effort no matter how impossible a problem may seem. To help Yeshiva do our best, the faculty are always ready to answer any Bacher's question and head them in the right direction. I would like to thank all my RVAV teachers, coaches, dorm counselors, secretaries, Boo, and all the Richmond community for truly uplifting 4 years. I want to especially thank my parents for sending me to Yeshiva that benefited me tremendously, even though they missed me so. Last but certainly not least, I want to thank Hashem for placing me in Richmond for the past 4 years and giving me the endless good. Thank you.
Thank you. Mazel tov to you. Beautiful. All caring and dedicated educators look to identify the key ingredients for student success. There are many courses and workshops for educators addressing everything from classroom management to curriculum, even differentiated curriculum, lesson plan development, motivational instruction, learning style modalities, effective reinforcers, and much more. But there's one ingredient that may be the most important and most underrated. I want to share a story. Forgive me if you've heard it before. Okay. Forgive me. Okay, well, I'll have to try to remember the story. There was a young man who was struggling to succeed in high school, and he was near expulsion. He was being raised by a single mom in the Midwest. He promised his mother he would take the SATs in May of his junior year. And at the time, the SATs had 2 sections, math and verbal, worth a maximum of 800 each. This boy was already failing out of school. He didn't expect to do very well, but to his surprise, he got a 1480 out of 1600, and that's right up there with the best, actually 98th or 99th percentile. So he gets this amazing score, and his mom does what any mom who knows her kids well would do. She asked how he cheated. So he said he actually tried to cheat, but the chairs were too far apart. So his mom says, "You're telling me you actually got that score?" And he said, "Yeah, I really got that score." So the next thing that happens is he realizes he's actually smart. So in his senior year, he promises his mom that he's going to start to go to all of his classes. Sure enough, that's what he does, and he stops hanging out with the kids that he hung out with when he didn't go to class. So as he began to realize that he was actually smart, the teachers see this and they think, well, maybe they missed the boat with this kid. So now the teachers start treating him differently. He graduates, goes on to a community college, then goes to Wichita State, and finally ends up in an Ivy League college. Eventually became one of the most successful magazine entrepreneurs in the world. His whole identity had transformed. Okay, so you'll say this guy was always smart, and he just needed a standardized test to unlock it. But that's not the story. 12 years after receiving his SAT score, he received a letter in the mail from Princeton, the folks who administer the SAT. The SAT board periodically reviews their test-taking procedures and policies. They found that he was one of 13 people sent the wrong SAT score. His actual score was a 740. That mistake exposed a powerful truth that a person's perceptions of his own limitations or lack thereof can have a qualitative impact on his success. How does this work? We sense that it is true because all of us, teachers and parents, say to our kids, you can do anything you put your mind to. You can be whatever you want to be. Although I'm not generally a fan of Kurt Vonnegut, he was famous for saying, we are who we pretend to be. We ought to think carefully about who we pretend to be. There is some profound truth to that statement, yet when we tell kids these things, it usually doesn't translate into any immediate, meaningful, major change in their self-perceptions or their actions. I believe that children, like most people, have well-developed insecurities, but only about certain things. Notice that children and teenagers especially can be daring and wild, irresponsible and reckless, even at times dangerously so. The risks teenagers are willing to take sometimes is due to their belief, even unrealistically so, in their own power and strength, and they're not fazed by obstacles or fears. I believe the reason it doesn't work as easily in the academic arena is because as much as we say you can do it, they don't actually believe it. Why that is for another time. But this story about the SAT illustrated what became a paradigm shift that took place in the mindset of that student, because no insecurity could penetrate what he then considered had to be true, that he was in fact a 1480 student, that he was in fact smart. That was transformative. Now I want to connect this to what takes place regularly in the yeshiva and Sharei Torah. I have watched with my own eyes, perceived with my own mind, and felt with my own heart the transformation that takes place with so many students over the years of their attendance. Whether arriving as a great student and highly motivated, or on the lazier side and less successful, each will no doubt be able to share his or her own story that reflects this idea. They now can see themselves in a different way and see the truth of their own near unlimited potential. This happens because our Rabbeim, Moros, and teachers actually see as real the potential in each student and effectively convey that truth to the student. I'll give you an example. There is no Talmud that I know that can escape the clarity of potential that Rabbi David sees in him. The student's potential is reality to him, and he is so sure of it, he truly sees them not for how they are, but for how they can be. In fact, how they can be is how he sees who they are. It is widely believed that we don't use more than a fraction, maybe 10 to 15% of our intellectual strengths. Understanding that truth with clarity will translate into a more daring and more successful student. It is my bracha, dear students, that with the help of Hashem, you will continue to recognize the actual truth of your near limitless potential, and with the proper respect for the Masorah that you have embraced, that you see bracha v'hatzlacha from all your endeavors. Mazel tov. Now I would like to call your attention to the screen again for a
mazel tov. Hineni bazel lehaviya bechasi birchas mazel tov. Mazel tov, mazel tov. Mama mazel tov. Hineni bazel lehaviya bechasi birchas mazel tov. Mazel tov, mazel tov. Mama mazel tov. Hineni bazel lehaviya bechasi birchas mazel tov. Mazel tov, mazel tov. Mama mazel tov. Hineni bazel lehaviya bechasi birchas mazel tov.
Once again, mazel tov to all the graduates, and thank you for those beautiful, beautiful speeches. And Rabbi Kleshik, you are hired to give divrei chizuk at any event I ever conduct. Going back to Yisachar and Zvulun, the partnership that we always have in the Torah of success, for Torah leadership could be combined with a business leader working together to partner for growth. And in fact, in the Torah, we find that Zvulun, the partner, the business partner, was actually placed first in front of Yisachar only because of his acumen in business and his support of Yisachar's Torah learning was that learning and teaching possible. And that's a model throughout Jewish history for success in Jewish leadership, in Jewish institutions, and Jewish communities. The Torah leaders, the Rabbanim, the rabbis, the Rosh Yeshiva, the Rebbeim, the rabbinic leadership, combined with the lay leadership that contributes not only funds and generous support, but support of time and energy. In virtually every community that I have known, and probably this is, I guess, almost 100% true, when you find a successful Torah leader, there is almost always, invariably, you're going to find at their side a lay leader who is working behind them, 100% supportive of all their efforts, without whom that rabbinic leader would not have the success that they have. I spoke about Rabbi Kleshik before and his vision and how he has been a critical part of creating and sustaining virtually all the Torah infrastructure in the city. Anyone who knows Rabbi Kleshik knows that right along beside him, every step of the way, is his key man, his number one balabas, his right-hand man, who it's my pleasure to introduce for a special Shalsheles Club presentation, Mr. Stuart Cantor.
So one thing Rabbi Kleshik didn't give me was that hook to take Rabbi Bart off the stage before he went on too far. Thank you very much, Rabbi Bart. I will say it is more than my pleasure to be a part of this community with the leadership from Rabbi Kleshik, Rabbi Bart, the other Rebbeim in this community. It's something that's we're very privileged to have in Richmond. We want to thank everybody that has already given, and a lot of you here in this room have given, and it's critical for our institution, and you've heard some of the graduates and other speeches tonight and what that means to everybody. So we have two pieces. We have a one-time gift that we've asked everybody to give that we recognize tonight, and we also asked people to give regular monthly contributions. So that's what I'm here to do right now. And these monthly contributions, they go to do the hard work of helping us support the salaries for the Rebbeim that we talked about tonight, for the teachers, the staff, and everything that goes on at Yeshiva. So I'm going to ask you just to take real quickly, there is a card, a small little card in your handout, and ask you to join what we call our Shalsheles Club, where you commit to making a donation each month. We make it easy for you. We'll actually get your credit card and make that charge for you so you don't have to do anything. And we really ask you to think about that. So we'll have plenty of time. We're going to collect the cards now if you want to take them now. We're going to let you think about it a little further as we make the presentations to tonight's honorees. And we will, in the end, for everybody that participates and signs up tonight, there is a special gift that we give to everybody that signs up tonight. I don't know if Dina's got it. I can show it to everybody. And there are also raffles. So if you actually sign up, and it doesn't matter how much you sign up for, you can sign up for $1 a month, or you can sign up for $1 million a month. we've never had anybody sign up for $1 million a month. You'd be the first one. So anybody that signs up, you do get this pouch here, which I'm not even sure what it is. It's a blanket, I think. It's a picnic blanket. It's a picnic blanket. It folds up very nicely into this. Everybody gets a picnic blanket, and then there are some things we'll give away as part of the raffle, and they're listed on the back here too. And we do thank those who donated those raffles that we're going to give away. So think about it. It's really, really important for the continued necessity of keeping the yeshiva going. Some spoke about visionary Rabbi Kleshchik. I do know what this community was like before Shari Torah and Yeshiva Virginia, and it's a big difference with these institutions here, and we really encourage you to continue to support us. So fill out your cards now. We can collect them now, and we can also collect them a little bit later in the evening. Thank you. Dean, are we collecting now or later? Am I wrong about collecting now? If you filled it out, Rabbi Kleshchik's walking around, there'll be some others as well. But if you can do it now, and you will get the blanket as well.
Everyone should please feel free to continue filling out those cards and turning them in as we continue on with the program. And everybody, please, as you are filling out the cards, also give your attention to the screen for a special overseas presentation and message for our graduates.
I would like to take this opportunity to wish Jonathan Peretz and Marlena, as well as Elliot and Sarah, a very special and hearty mazel tov on being chosen this year for the Alumni Leadership Award. I feel compelled to mention that over the years, I have developed a very special relationship as Rebbe and Talmud with Jonathan Peretz, and I cherish dearly this relationship. Mazel tov to all.
And once again, it is a pleasure to call up Rabbi Kleshchik.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cantor. And again, as you feel free to continue filling out the cards, and people will be coming around at your leisure to get you a blanket, and actually they kept it nice and cool in here, so we may need a blanket. In fact, I think let's lower the temperature. Lower the temperature. Everybody needs a blanket, right? Okay. And again, there'll be a raffle selection at the end. I was also, forgot to mention in the beginning that the bag of, I don't know what you call it, trail mix or whatever it is nut-free. Am I correct in saying that? Nut-free, Produced in a facility, though, that has nuts. So, okay. And after the food that we had, presumably pareve. Okay. Okay. So what do we look for when we're looking for alumni and leaders to honor? Of course, successful students and adults. Okay, how would one define success? It seems like a pretty straightforward question that should be relatively easy to answer. Let's see, we're a school. We spend 7 to 12 hours a day for 4 years teaching roughly 9+ subjects per year. Presumably, the student spends 7 to 12 hours a day for 4 years learning the roughly 9+ subjects per year. This should be a well-defined body of knowledge to convey and fairly specific group of skills to master. The one who succeeds in capturing that information and mastering those skills should be the perfect candidate to qualify for that honor. Mrs. Sarah Plotnick and Mr. Jonathan Cantor, who were in our first classes of the respective school divisions, would certainly qualify. They were both brilliant and outstanding students who captured the information and mastered the skills. They went on to succeed in higher education, became extremely well-respected in their fields, married great and accomplished spouses, very successful in their own right. Fair enough. Based on those criteria, you could well understand why Rabbi Elliott and Mrs. Sarah Plotnick and Mr. Jonathan and Mrs. Marlena Cantor would be the obvious choices. But anyone who spent any significant time in our schools knows that it could be something even more. Those benchmarks of academic success are not enough because there is more that matters to us. We do believe strongly in the importance of a rigorous academic program, but all for a higher purpose, to help develop the character of the student. We call it Academics Plus. I want to tell you a story. Yesterday, after Mincha in the yeshiva, we had Shalsheles. That's the afternoon meal on our last Shabbos of the year. We have Shalsheles every week, but this was the last Shabbos of the year for the school. And along with our standard gourmet fare, I had ordered 2 cheesecakes. Unfortunately, only one arrived. I was nervous that with over 24 hungry teenage boys, long Shabbos afternoon, plus quite a number of other adults, there wouldn't be enough for all who wanted. And we might see a mad dash to capture the limited supply. Instead, I noticed that a few minutes in, there were 2 slices left. And instead of the next 2 students taking those last 2 slices, they and quite a few more after them kept slicing those pieces into more pieces, as no one wanted to take either of the last 2 slices. The meal ended, and there was still the equivalent of almost a full piece left. These are hungry teenage boys. That is a success. That is an example of a simple midah, a character trait of sensitivity. There are 3 midos that are perhaps the most foundational ones, and the ones maybe we don't spend enough time on. They're hakar satov, a deep appreciation for the good that one receives, and derech eretz, true respect for Torah and Torah leaders, and anivos, humility. Our honorees, all 4 of them, are of the most successful people I know, as these midos, respect and appreciation, and humility, run deeply through their veins. Rabbi and Mrs. Plotnick, your eagerness to help anywhere and everywhere, even before you are asked, is a reflection of these very developed midos I mentioned. Combined with a giving nature that's built into your DNA, I know that whatever it is, setting students up for meals, sitting on our board, investing time in any of the committees, humbly, never looking for honor or credit, always deflecting to others, doing tonight's video, even though you're being honored and you should be able to just sit back and enjoy the evening for the first time, instead of having all the headaches associated with co-chairing the event, as you've done. You're always there, never saying no, never complaining that it's too much, even apologizing if you think you're not doing it quickly enough, all because of your respect and appreciation and humility. These midos have deep roots. When Rabbi Plotnick was only a young teenager, he went against the grain and the norm at the time and left home to go away to yeshiva because he had, even at such a young age, a respect for Torah and Torah leaders, and his sense of hakaras hatov for what he has is palpable. All of his work on behalf of the community is a reflection of those deep feelings and commitments. I affectionately remember Mrs. Plotnick's father, Bruce Oliver Shalom, of the first members of the community to welcome me to town over 32 years ago. Together with his dedicated wife, he served the community as a respectful and appreciative leader and a humble worker on behalf of the Jewish people. He led his shul because he respected the Torah and the Torah leaders. He spoke at his daughter Sarah's high school graduation, Sharei Torah's first graduating class, because he had tremendous appreciation that he wanted to express. It is my honor and pleasure to ask Rabbi Elliott and Mrs. Sarah Plotnick to come up to accept the Alumni Leadership Award. I'll read what the artwork says. V'chol mi she'oskim b'tzarchei tzibur be'emunah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishalem scharam, yishalach bracha v'atzlacha b'chol ma'aseh yedehem. Basically, all those who toil on behalf of the community, Hashem should give them all good things. Hashem will. Alumni Leadership Award presented to Rabbi and Mrs. Elliott and Sarah Plotnick with deep appreciation, the Yeshiva and Sharei Torah Shalsheles 2022, 5782.
I wasn't supposed to speak, but my wife needs a minute, so. Being that I'm not an alumnus of YVA, or Sharei Torah for that matter, what am I doing up here? So I think a story that I have, that I encountered many, many years ago, can illustrate why I do what I do for Yeshiva and for Sharei Torah. Many, many years ago, I had the privilege of creating a tribute video for Rabbi Klashik, for Rabbi and Mrs. Klashik. The format of the video consisted of interviewing former and current students to get short testimonials about the impact Rabbi Klashik had made in their life. I won't say whose testimonial it was, as I don't have her permission to repeat the story publicly, but in one of the testimonials, we asked the following question. It said, tell us one thing that you remember that made the greatest impression on you about the rabbi. The girl told the following story on the video. She said that when she was being interviewed by Rabbi Klashik to get into Sharei Torah, she expected some sort of entrance exam, questions, something about her life, something about what would make Sharei Torah a good fit, something that she expected to have to answer about why Sharei Torah would be good for her. She sat down with Rabbi Klashik, and he asked her the following two questions. Do you want to learn, and do you want to grow? She stated on the video, and afterwards, she was floored by those questions, and she wasn't sure how to respond. It wasn't a regular exam. It wasn't asking her about any of her skills. To which Rabbi Klashik responded to her, it's simple. If you have a desire to grow and a desire to learn, we would love to have you. And that's it. Some yeshivos get trapped in the exterior or consequential ideologies. You must wear this to fit in. You must be able to learn this to be here. You must wear only loafers instead of shoes with ties. You must wear this shirt. You must know this. I'm up here to tell you that what we do for YVA and Sharei Torah is because of this story. The only thing they are concerned with is the students. Do they want to learn? Do they want to grow? How can we connect to them each individually to find the path for them to learn and grow? That's all it's about. And we see tonight, and for the past years, the success stories that the yeshiva has because of that. Of course, it's not for everyone, But if you want to learn and you want to grow at any level, come check out Shari Torah and YVA. Thank you very much.
Okay, so I very much struggled with this speech because there is no prepared speech that could do my experience in Shari Torah justice. Graduates, you were a really hard act to follow, I'll be honest. I wasn't expecting that. Really incredible, especially incredible. But my husband told me a prepared speech was the only way to go, so don't worry. There will be a prepared speech. As I tell my daughter, every Shari Torah girl has her story. Here is mine. I remember being 7 years old, and there was talk about the formation of a high school. In 1994, that became a reality. It was an extremely exciting time in our community, and for me personally, it was a tremendous bracha. What would have been with my Torah education, with my religious life, if it had not become a reality? There is a chance that I would have gone away to school out of town. There's also a chance that I would not have. But either way, I know that my life would not have been the same. Shari Torah gave me the opportunity to continue my education here at my home in Richmond, in my community. Shari Torah was a tremendous gift, an awesome bracha. Shari Torah was about many things, but I want to focus on and share with you today a few truly meaningful experiences that have stayed with me in my core. Shari Torah gave me the opportunity to grow in my community, and one of the highlights was chesed. Some things haven't changed, girls, right? We were taught that the community was counting on us, and we were needed to step up, which is always the case. Voluntold is how Nava refers to it nowadays. When I think back on those experiences now, what I remember is a feeling of connection, of being needed, being helpful, that I mattered, and was making a difference in the Jewish community. It was one of the things I missed the most when we moved to New York. This was and continues to be a cornerstone of my life, even to this day. When Rabbi Klaschik, where's Rabbi Klaschik? When Rabbi Klaschik took over Shari Torah, yes, there was a time when he wasn't in charge. One of the main ideas he focused on was tznius. It was the one some of us, or many of us, were asking about, right, Alana? What were the rules going to be? What was unique to me was that we went beyond the halacha. He taught us the halachos, of course. That was the dress code, tznius. But we also discussed the fundamental hashkafos behind these halachos. This opened up a whole new world of hashkafas hayahadus and our ensuing discussions about other topics such as free will, fantasy versus reality, intellect over emotions, lessons in learning how to think and ask questions, and how to find the truth. All created the foundation for who I am, who our family is today. I was imbued with a love of learning and Torah and a completely new view of the world, which became the guiding principles in our lives and how we have built our home and raising our own family. Shari Torah was a home. You can't cry, that's not okay. Shari Torah was a home. It was our home. In fact, I remember that when my parents received an offer on their house after many years of it being on the market, and we were potentially going to move away from Richmond, I said, no problem, I'll stay here. No big deal. You guys head out. I'll find a place to live. I'll work out all the details. Because how could I leave Shari Torah? How could I leave? My spiritual home. The unconditional love, support, and guidance. We were a family, and I felt loved, cherished, and supported like a family, in addition to my own. Oh boy, I know. Oh well. Okay, I would be remiss if I didn't say a personal thank you to my Rabbi Klaschik. I consider myself so privileged to have been gifted the opportunity to learn so much from you. At every crossroads of my life, of our lives, of our families' lives, you have been there to support, guide, listen, and teach. I know it is a rare, precious gift to be able to have such a close connection with your high school principal. That's very unique. But you are truly the mentor of my life. And that wasn't even words that I could put on paper, but thank you, Nava. It's true. She knows. Mrs. Kleschik, you are a special person, an inspiration to us all. Your love, devotion, and belief in us went beyond anyone's wildest expectations. Thank you both for all that you have done and continue to do for our community. I don't know where we would be, all of us, without you. Shari Torah was my foundation, my source of inspiration, and what I learned there started me on the path for who we are today. And as we send our third child, Dani, off to yeshiva, watch our Nava become a Shari Torah senior, and welcome home Tzvi each month so that he can have a break from yeshiva in New York to spend almost all of his free time in YVA. I know that they have spent and will be spending their formative years in a place that gave me the tools to be the wife, mother, and community member that I am today. High school years are your formative years we were talking about on Shabbos, and in the brilliant words of my Nava, she says, Shari Torah is the best place to form them. Mazel tov to Yonatan and Marlena and to all the graduates. You guys really were incredible, and thank you for the opportunity to share my story.
Mazel tov, thank you. Call your attention again to the screen for a moment.
זה המקום, החלום, זה חלום שהוא ישן וגם חדש. זה המקום, החלום, עוד נעלה לשם ברגל לבקר את המקדש. זה המקום, החלום, זה חלום מתוק זבת חלב ודבש. זה המקום, החלום, עוד נעלה לשם ברגל לבקר את המקדש. Thank you. Mazel tov to you again.
I do want to say one thing about the dress code. Guys, don't get any ideas. We're not changing the dress code. It is what it is. Mr. Yonatan and Mrs. Marlena Cantor, your amazing competence and near perfection in everything you do is overwhelming and matched only by your commitment to always do the right thing. You live with a deep love and respect of Torah and its leaders and are immensely appreciative of what your Rabbeim have given you, and despite your awe-inspiring intellectual skills and talents, there is never a hint of arrogance. It is both those Torah ideals and appreciation for your own opportunities, your hakaras hatov, that guide not only your behavior, but your sentiments and perspectives as well. Some people do things somewhat begrudgingly. They sort of know what's right, but wish they wouldn't have to do it. Or worse, they do it for the wrong reasons, power or arrogance. There's no daylight between how you see things and how you feel and how you act, always with respect and appreciation for what you have and a deep humility. And act, they do. Yonatan inspires me with his commitment, as he has been responsible for so much, mostly behind the scenes, putting in so many hours every week, week after week, month after month, year after year, for over 9 years. And his oldest is still years away from entering high school. He too has co-chaired this event for years, and instead of being able to just sit back and enjoy it, his sense of responsibility precludes him from doing that. He's always there for all of us, answering our many questions that we feel only he can. He does it, and his wife lets him do it. We appreciate it. Because they understand the importance to the children and to the families we serve and to the community that they care so much about. But at the core, they are driven by those three critical midos of respect, appreciation, and humility. And those ideals are deeply rooted in their families. The Linds are humble people of great character, whose appreciation for the good bestowed upon them is clear, and their pure respect for Torah and Torah leaders is legendary. Yes, I have heard of the search for the portrait of Rabbi Bart in Israel. Mr. Stuart Cantor, with the support of his wife, is the backbone not only of the yeshiva and much of the rest of the community in ways most people don't know due to their humility, and have hardwired those midos of respect and appreciation into their families' lives. It is my pleasure and honor to ask Mr. Yonatan and Mrs. Marlena Cantor to come up and accept this Alumni Leadership Award. B'chol misho skim b'tzorchei tzibur be'emunah. HaKadosh Baruch Hu yishalem scharam v'yishlach bracha v'atzlacha b'chol masei yedeihem. Alumni Leadership Award, Hashem, because they do such work, tzorchei tzibur be'emunah, with faith, Hashem will provide for them and bring them happiness, bracha, and atzlacha in all they do. Alumni Leadership Award presented to Mr. and Mrs. Yonatan and Marlena Cantor with deep appreciation, Yeshiva and Shari Torah, Shalsheles 2022-5782. Thank you.
While I didn't attend Shari Torah, and that is only one of the many reasons why I feel uncomfortable receiving this recognition tonight, I have been positively influenced by this institution. Most recently and most significantly, over the past 3 years, I've attended Mrs. Kluschik's Tuesday night Chumash class, which has given me the opportunity to learn Chumash on an in-depth level each week. I walk away strengthened by the feeling that I am able to connect with women of all ages and stages who are committed to learning Torah together. I've learned that you don't actually have to go to Shari Torah or even be a teenager anymore to have Mrs. Kluschik as your teacher. Yonatan and I also enjoy hosting students for meals, and of course some of our children's favorite babysitters, Shabbos group leaders, and TLC partners are Shari Torah students. In these ways, I've had the privilege of interacting with YVA and Shari Torah and seeing the school's mission in action. One thing I've noticed from attending these graduations over the years is how the students always remark about how Shari Torah and Yeshiva was a place where they finally felt comfortable to ask questions and explore their connections to Judaism. To be honest, these remarks always surprised me, and only recently did I realize that due to my experiences growing up in Richmond and attending RTA, I've always taken this reality as a given. From talking to friends in other places, I've learned that this experience is actually a unique phenomenon that should not be taken for granted. I'm grateful to be a part of an institution that encourages this way of thinking and recognizes that through asking questions, students will come to actually strengthen their emunah and Judaism. And I'm grateful to support an institution that takes that mission beyond just the 4 years of high school and finds ways to support Torah growth for our entire community. So, while I might not qualify as an alumna in the strict sense of the word, I have certainly been a student of these institutions. And as I shared with the Shari Torah girls yesterday, not just by marriage. I am glad to partner with Yonatan to do what we can to support Torah in our community.
I first want to say off script that this is a tremendous privilege to be recognized here tonight, but it means so much more to come after the graduates because they've really reinforced for me why these institutions are so important for our community. There are many aspects of the Yeshiva and Shari Torah that I could address tonight. I could talk about my deep connection to Torah learning, which developed at YVA as I initiated my connection with our Rosh Yeshiva, Reb Chaim Mozart-Chait, who unfortunately could not be here tonight. I could talk about that perk of being treasurer of Yeshiva, where I assist with collecting tuition. Though it's a challenging role and one that has pushed me to significant personal growth as I interact with parents who so desperately want to see their children succeed in life by attending our schools, it's probably something best left out of a public address. Or I could focus on the dedication of the heart and soul of the schools, the faculty and staff and their loving commitment to their students, which is palpable the moment you walk into the classroom. But instead, I wanted to focus on one aspect of our institutions which is often overlooked. I believe our boys and girls high schools are incredibly unique. Think for a moment, how many other Jewish communities the size of Richmond, a community with around 12,000 Jews, maybe 75 Orthodox families, how many communities our size have a successful high school? Maybe a handful. Now think, how many of those small communities have high schools so successful that their communities also boast a strong population of alumni who chose to come back and raise their families in the community? It's possible there's another community like ours, but I'd like to think that what we have here in Richmond is an anomaly. And it's happening here despite the long odds. It's incredibly difficult to run Jewish high schools in Richmond. It's difficult financially for a community our size to support high school programs. It's difficult organizationally to find the right personnel, especially for Judaics, to live here in Richmond and teach at a high school level. And it's often difficult culturally and logistically to integrate the dorming students from outside Richmond with those who live here. But there's another ingredient that we're missing. And that's the commitment of a small group of people whose vision and dedication to the yeshiva continuously show that they couldn't care less about the odds. This group is led by Rabbi Kluschik and my father, Mr. Stuart Cantor. Their boundless commitment to the yeshiva and the Richmond Jewish community is what allows us to continue to thrive. And I would be nowhere near this podium without their continued mentorship and guidance. And of course, all this is only possible with siyata dishmaya, heavenly support. And I'd like to think that our communal leaders' focus on Torah ideals and midos tovos is a large part of why we merit God's assistance. Which brings me to my last point. In Igeres Ramban, the famous letter that the Ramban, Nachmanides, wrote to his son back in the 13th century, the Ramban says, Uvameh yitka'eh lev ha'adam v'im bechavod halo lelokimhu shene'amar v'ha'osher v'ha'kavod milfanecha. What should a person take pride in? He shouldn't take pride in his honor, for honor is God's. As the pasuk says in Divrei Hayomim, wealth and honor are God's. The Ramban says that kavod, honor, is God's. There's no honor we should take pride in unless the honor is God's honor, and then the honor isn't ours, it's God's. Marlena and I are happy to represent the Yeshiva and Shari Torah here tonight, and we're honored to share that privilege with Rabbi Elliot and Sarah Plotnick. But our purpose here is only to recognize and honor God through strengthening our connection to Torah and mitzvahs, which the Yeshiva and Shari Torah imbue in its students. As long as the Yeshiva and Shari Torah are doing so, they're increasing kavod shemayim, honor of heaven, which is really the whole point. Thanks to all of you for coming out tonight and supporting Yeshiva and Shari Torah.
Thank you. That was beautiful, really. Thought-provoking and meaningful. And now I would like to ask, we're going to do, just before we pull the raffle, I'm going to ask Mr. Cantor to come up and continue with, oh, I'm sorry. I was so moved by what you said. I forgot my notes, and I forgot where I was. Thank you. So please call your attention, everyone, to the video.
Mama
Before I call on Mr. Cantor to close out this wonderful evening, I just want to share one thought, which is that in this world today, very, very challenging world, all you need to do is look at any local news story, not just the general world, but even the Jewish world. We have our challenges. It's easy to feel pessimistic, which is why it's so wonderful to come for an evening like this, and we are filled with optimism. And I want to just share one sidelight on that optimism on the theme of Shalsheles, change. Just one additional note. The amazing rabbinic and lay leadership behind the yeshiva and Shari Torah, you've heard just a drop of the amazing, inspiring, incredible people. We get our marching orders from these people. They are models, they are examples from all of us. They are the beginning of the Shalsheles. When we look at our amazing alumni, Rabbi Elliot and Sarah, Yonatan and Marlena, I think every one of us is moved to tears by the remarks you've said this evening, and we couldn't be prouder of our own homegrown alumni. Then we look at our graduates, amazing, outstanding graduates. Wow. Again, we couldn't be prouder. I'm sure your parents and grandparents and friends and family. And you're going to be bringing us tremendous nachas for many, many years to come. We're so proud of every one of you. And then just to take the Shalsheles one step further, to feel optimistic about our yeshiva and Shari Torah, and to share with you last week at RTA, we had 8th grade graduation, 9 wonderful graduates. One of those graduates is moving out of town and going to yeshiva, and 8 are staying in town. And every single one of them will, God willing, be attending yeshiva and Shari Torah this coming year. Much reason indeed we have to feel very optimistic for the future of Richmond, Virginia. And again, finally, my pleasure to close it out with none other than Mr. Cantor.
So first of all, I do want to wish again Mazel Tov to the graduates, to the honorees, and it just goes without saying that to Yonatan and to Marlena, your Ima and I are very, very proud. My first task is really to remind you to fill out these cards, and we will have a raffle in a few minutes. And just a reminder, if anybody was taking us up on the new technology, or at this point not really new, and use the little QR code, we have an old-fashioned raffle, so we do need your name on a card to be entered in the raffle. So even if you use the QR code, just put your name on a card and give it to one of the people that are collecting the cards so that we can get your name in the raffle. My other job here is to say thank you, and I want to first extend a great thank you again to all of the staff, all the honorees tonight, because they've done just a wonderful job for our schools, over the last couple of years, many, many, many years. And I want to thank all of you here tonight. It's 200 strong, and it just helps support everything that we do when you see you come out and congratulate our graduates and our honorees. I do have a list, and fortunately this year we have a lot of people that are on this page here of notable sponsorship levels, and usually we read them out, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to point them out to you as the inside cover of the journal, and want to make sure everybody sees them, and just a round of applause to recognize those who have supported. And as an aside, and just really as a testament to the school, to the graduates, and to the honorees, tonight really was our most successful Shari Torah. Our campaign to date for this event, we have raised more than $130,000, and I appreciate everybody's support. And that would not have been possible without all the volunteers to help make tonight possible. And I want to thank particularly Dina Kleschik. She's in an unusual position because we've really had Yonatan and Sarah and Dina all worked together the last couple years to chair this event. And with Sora and Yonatan being honored, Dina stepped up, and we really, really appreciate that. It's just not a one-woman show, although Dina has done a great amount. There are many others that helped, and again, on the second page inside the journal, instead of reading all the names, they are printed here, and you should take a look at that as well. There's a couple on there that I don't think that are mentioned, and that I do need to mention since they're not in here. I want to thank Mordechai Miller for the photography for tonight, not mentioned here. Rabbi Elliot Plotnick, who is one of the honorees, he actually did the videos, and we want to thank him for that. My other daughter-in-law, Leora, who I think she has a sick child, didn't even make it tonight, but did the centerpieces, and we want to appreciate and thank her for that. Thank you to Amy Beth Lehman and her tireless efforts and her catering, the only caterer that we use. We thank her very much. And thank the Cultural Arts Center and our RVAV for all the AV tonight. We appreciate that. And of course, none of this is possible without HaKadosh Baruch Hu and what he's done for our community and us. And we just, in his Torah and everything, we just, there's no way to say anything other than just our Hakar Zatov is where it should, go for that. The more mundane things, we do have lots of blankets that still haven't been given out. I might have to just stay up here and keep talking until all the blankets are given out. So if you haven't filled out your cards, and please do so, raise your hands, and you'll get a blanket. I do want to mention one other thing while we're kind of, getting people a chance to continue to fill out their cards. I want to recognize a couple people that came as a surprise to Yonatan. And it made us even more special for Yonatan tonight. Dr. Donnie and Bracha Polakov came as a surprise, and Yonatan's boss for many years and his wife, Jonathan and Ann Rand. The lights are in my face. I don't see Jonathan and Ann. Raise your hands if you're still in the room. There they are. Okay. So we want to thank all of you for coming. It's really made a very special night for Yonatan. We're going to call up one of the winners from last year to pull the raffles, pull your names. But I still see Toby standing there with lots of blankets. So anybody else got any cards that they want to fill in? So anyway, while we're still spending time here trying to get you to fill in your cards, on the back of the cards are the raffles. So I'm going to start with the grand prize, and we'll go backwards, but actually we'll pull it in reverse order, I guess. The grand prize is a 3-night weekday getaway in Wintergreen. It's a house that I believe for up to 6 people. It's an approximate value of $4,500. That's the grand prize. The second prize is a Diamond Eternity Circle necklace. The first prize was donated by the Cements. I want to recognize them for that. The second prize, which is a Diamond Eternity Circle necklace with an approximate value of $300, was donated by Rabbi and Mrs. David. We thank them for that. And the third prize is a 15-minute mini photo shoot with Sarah Kristen Photography. So Toby still has blankets back there. And there's plenty of cold people. Okay. Where's Avi Gunsberg? Avi? Did you leave? Avi, you need to come up. We need to get you to come up. And I'm going to give this to Avi for the last couple chances to what? We have another card. Yeah. Avi's probably better at doing this than I am, at getting the last couple people to fill in the cards. So I'm going to turn this over to Avi to see if you can get a couple more people. You want to? No, I'm not going to do that to him. So, I don't know what Avi's going to say. Avi's going to pick this. We're going to go backwards. So this is the, he's picking now for the 15-minute photo shoot. You're going to read it too.
Winner is.
You're going to read it too.
Still don't know what I'm going to say. Jerry Newman. Hooray! I don't know what to do.
Okay, somebody's noting this. We will make arrangements to. We've got your card here. So, Dina, how are we doing this?
We'll be in touch.
We'll be in touch. We'll be in touch. Okay. Thank you.
We'll
thank
have
you.
our people get in touch with your people.
And the next winner is for the Diamond Eternity Circle necklace.
Daniel and Julia Roth. Hooray! Look how proud he is.
Okay, we know where you are, Daniel, and I'm sure your wife appreciates it. And for the grand prize, the 3-night stay in Wintergreen.
James Ranke.
Where's Yosef Frankie?
Is that also Yosef?
Yes, Yosef. Congratulations to all the winners. Thank you again for everybody that came out and supported the graduates, the honorees, and our schools. It's much appreciated. Again, thank you very much to Rabbi Kleshchik for making this all possible, for all the volunteers, for Rabbi Bart for emceeing, and we do have desserts for everybody outside in the same courtyard where we had the hors d'oeuvres. So everybody enjoy the desserts, and thank you again for coming.